Hello, dear listeners. Welcome back to our channel. Let's dive into today's story. It was a lovely restaurant, one I'd always enjoyed for its atmosphere, food, and even its acoustics. Nowadays, so many restaurants opt for that unfinished ceiling style that amplifies noise and ruins the ambience for a peaceful dinner conversation. But this place was different. It was an old house converted into an upscale steakhouse. The original structure was kept intact, with 7 separate dining rooms spread across 2 floors. Each room had about 6 well-spaced tables, offering privacy and intimacy. It was the perfect spot for a romantic dinner. Unfortunately, tonight was far from romantic. I was having dinner with my wife, Kathy. We sat at a table on the lower level. She looked nervous, fidgeting and avoiding eye contact. Despite her fear, I could see a certain determination in her eyes. I hadn't said much since we arrived, just enough to get us seated and order drinks. While browsing the menu, I debated between the blackberry fillet and the beef tenderloin tornadoes in Bordelaise sauce. I sipped my single malt whiskey on the rocks and studied Kathy. She was still a beautiful woman, smart, successful, and someone I once would have done anything for. But lately, I had lost the passion I once felt for her. She didn't know about the shift in my feelings, but tonight, she would learn. My news would disrupt her plans, among other things. I'm Ben Jones, a 49-year-old software account executive. I've been married to Kathy for 28 years. Sitting across from me now was someone who felt like a stranger. "Yes, Kathy," I said with a quiet sigh. I wanted to talk to you about something. "Well, that will be a nice change," I replied, unable to resist the sarcasm. Her lips twisted in irritation. "You've always been so charming, Ben. Thank you for that." "Kathy, I wasn't being sarcastic this time," I said, letting the comment hang. I held her gaze as I took another sip of my whiskey. She looked away as the waiter approached. When he reached us, I handed him my menu and ordered the blackberry fillet with Spanish rice. Kathy, flustered by my uncharacteristic behavior, scanned her menu quickly and settled on a salad. A salad at a steakhouse? Once the waiter left, she looked at me again. "Ben, I've been thinking a lot about us. About you. About me. And, well, I wanted to share my thoughts." I took another sip of my drink, swirling the condensation on the glass with my thumb and finger. "There's a difference between being late and being too late," I said. "What do you mean?" Kathy asked, confused. "A day late and $1 short," I sighed. "Go ahead, Kathy. Say what you want to say." "You're not being helpful, Ben. I'm serious, and I'm listening. What's on your mind?" She hesitated, then took a deep breath. "I think we should try a period of separation. Nothing permanent. Just time for me to figure things out. For us to figure things out." "No," I said calmly. Her head shot up, a blonde strand of hair falling loose. "What do you mean, no? A separation could help us. It could make me fall back in love with you." "Kathy," I replied, smiling. Not with love or triumph, but with the kind of patience you show a child pleading for more playtime before bed. "I don't want you to fall back in love with me. I have no patience for you justifying bad behavior. Let's be honest. You want a separation so you can explore things with someone else." Her eyes widened in shock. "What are you talking about? I'm not replacing you. I'm not looking for someone else. You know our marriage has been stale. Time apart could help us fix that and get back to what we used to be." "Yes, Kathy, our marriage is stale. Actually, it's beyond stale. For 2 years, I've been trying to work on it. But unfortunately, I was the only one trying. And now, instead of 2 people in this marriage, there are 3. And those 3 are working against each other." I raised my hand to stop the objection I could see coming. "You've replaced me, Kathy. You've cheated on me. And now you want me to accept an arrangement where you can explore that relationship further. You want us to separate so you can be with Roger, not to fix things with me. I won't allow that." Kathy's face twisted in anger. She gripped her napkin tightly and glared at me. "You're wrong," she hissed. "I haven't cheated on you with Roger. He's not your replacement." "What you mean," I said calmly, "is that you haven't been with Roger physically, but emotionally, you've been unfaithful to me. You've replaced me with him in every way that matters." Kathy looked uneasy and said, "Keep your voice down, Ben. There's no need to broadcast our issues." "Why not, Kathy? You've already been broadcasting them. Tell me, who have you talked to about this idea of separation besides me?" She shifted uncomfortably. "Well, I may have discussed it with Roger once or twice." At that moment, our meals arrived. "So, discussing our marriage with Roger before talking to me isn't cheating?" I asked. "Deciding on a course of action for our relationship with Roger's input before even telling me isn't cheating? Roger has had more say in my marriage than I have." Kathy was silent, her face red with frustration. The waitress, sensing the tension, placed our plates on the table and left quickly. I gave her a polite wink, which only made Kathy angrier. "Ben, you're making this sound worse than it is," Kathy said quietly. "Roger is just a friend, a kind, considerate listener who understands me and doesn't judge me. He's been helpful." "Helpful?" "Kathy, let me make this clear. You're an adulteress. You've insulted my intelligence, disrespected our marriage, and destroyed our future. Roger is slicker than a boiled onion, and he needs peeling. I would have expected you to cheat up, not down." Kathy gasped in shock, but I ignored her, turning to the waiter who had come to check on our meals. "Yes, thank you. The meal is wonderful," I said, cutting into my fillet and nodding in approval. "I don't appreciate what you're doing, Ben," Kathy snapped. "I am not a cheater. I haven't cheated, and you're wrong about Roger. In fact, I think you'd like him. He's a lot like you in many ways." "Really, Kathy? I'm so glad Roger and I are interchangeable in your mind. That brings me so much comfort," I said sarcastically. "For the record, Roger and I are nothing alike. I don't interfere in other people's marriages. I don't pursue married women, and I certainly don't play games like he does. You've cheated on me, Kathy. You've taken all the problems and triumphs of our marriage and shared them with Roger. You seek his advice, his companionship, all the things you've stopped sharing with me. You've acted like a woman waiting to cross the line, and it disgusts me." Kathy looked stunned as I glared at her. I took a bite of my fillet, savoring the flavor as if it were the only good thing left that night. Then I pushed my plate aside, took a sip of water, and met her thoughtful gaze. "Ben," she said softly, "I didn't mean to hurt you. I really didn't." "God damn it, Kathy." I slammed my glass onto the table. "You knew it would hurt me. That's why you kept it a secret. Don't tell me you didn't mean to hurt me when you never tried to protect me from this." I pulled out my wallet, dropped $200 on the table, and stood. Finishing the last of my scotch, I looked down at her one final time. "There will be no separation, Kathy. I've already filed for divorce. We divorced." Kathy fought it hard, insisting on counseling and absurd terms. She refused to sign the papers at first and demanded meetings to discuss our marriage. I refused. I told her I'd speak to her after the divorce was final, and not a moment before. I wanted a clean break so we could be civil around our kids and grandkids, but I was firm. I wanted out. Eventually, I got my divorce. We split everything evenly, and I walked away. Kathy later sent me a nasty letter, asking why I had given up on our marriage and hadn't fought for her. I didn't bother responding with words. Instead, I sent her a picture she had kindly sent me 3 days after our dinner. The picture of her and Roger together. She hadn't even waited a week to sleep with him after our dinner date. I didn't hear back from her after that. I don't date much now. I'm no Casanova. As long as I get some companionship now and then, I prefer my own company or the company of my kids, grandkids, and close friends. My kids initially sided with Kathy, not understanding what she had done. I explained to them calmly, "If your spouse stopped loving you and started a relationship with someone else, would you accept it?" Would you agree to a separation so they could explore that affair without guilt? Eventually, they understood. My relationship with my kids improved, though their bond with Kathy weakened. Kathy remarried and divorced again within 2 years. She and Roger never married. Apparently, they only slept together once. I didn't care to know why. As for me, I retired early and moved to the country. I'm happy, living simply, and no longer wasting energy on someone who didn't deserve or want my love. I do miss the woman I married and the life I thought we would share. But I celebrate my freedom from a loveless marriage to someone I no longer knew or respected. We had many good years, but Kathy checked out long before I pulled the plug. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.